All right, good morning, family. Welcome to Coffee and Craps with John here from Pro Craps. Getting started here with our usual morning routine. We're going to get our 4 throws in here and kind of keep rolling the pressure baked challenge. That is the Hawaii Crap Shooters 4-roll challenge. Let's do it up. I got 350 in the bank. We're going to go, again, 320 across. I will take one hit and bring them inside a little bit. Go to the pass line, 320 across. We got 70 bucks on the 6 and 8, 50 bucks everywhere else. These bets will be off for the come out, of course. Let's get our dice set rolling out here. Just kind of jump in. And as always, I just literally walked down here 3 minutes ago and have not yet thrown the dice today. So we'll see what happens here as we come out. Let's see what kind of toss we had this morning. There we go. Dice are out for the first time. It's going to be a 5-1-6. Our point's going to be a 6. Let's go ahead and drop the odds back behind the 6. And in fact, we'll do everything we have back there. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the 15 bucks and we're going to go to, we'll put $10 on the hard 6, and we'll keep $5 as our go home money should everything go belly up here. So there's first point being set. Let's get a couple of rolls in here and see if we can't make this thing happen. Let's get a money shot today. Here we go. Dice are out. That was a beautiful throw. 6, 2, 8. Love it. It's going to pay 70 bucks. And what we're going to do, we're going to bring in the 4 and the 10 inside to the 5 and the 9. I'm going to make this look like 120. I'm going to grab the hard 8 with the rest of it. Let's go ahead and make all those look like 100. Because we can. All right, and there we go. There's our do-re-mi out there on the table. Let's get her done. That's one hit. Here we go. Dice are set, stacked. Oh, that was horrible. That was a horrible throw. That was throw 2. They slipped. That's a second roll, which is a total waste of time. Unfortunately, we weren't in the field for that one. But you know me, on this 5-roll challenge or 4-roll challenge, I'm not going to burn profits in the field for these 4 rolls. I mean, the Iron Cross has a place. I don't think it has a place here today in this thing. There's a 5-5 hard 10. And of course, I jumped off the outsides to bring them in, which is the way I've been doing this that was a 10 out of 9. It's the way I've been doing this. I just kind of retreated into the inside here to see if we can't make some hay that way. Just a pattern I'm following. Here's the last one right here, money shot. Let's get an inside number here, shall we? Yeah, it's a 415. Okay, so at least we got the 140 out of that, which is okay. Unfortunately, we burned a roll here that would have been a field win, and we burned a 10 on the outside. We take in 140 here on the 5. So, you know, had we stayed where we were, the 10 would have paid 100, and the $50 5 would have paid 70. So it would have been 170 on those 2 wins versus the 140 that I got. So we gave it up a little bit, not the end of the world, but here's our 320. Let's just make this look like 350. There's the 350 that we started with. So everything else that's out here is what came home with us. So it's like 150, 175, 200 bucks. That's not bad. It's not as good as yesterday. There's 200. I'll actually color those up. So today is 210. Yesterday was 360, I think, something like that. Just because we wasted the 10. I wasted that 3. Whatever, I'll take it. Anytime you can make a money shot on a 4-roll challenge like this, you got to walk away being happy with that. So I'll take it. It's good. We'll run it again tomorrow. And good morning. That's it. That's the warm-up session. Let's walk over here and say hello to everybody. Yeah, Hawaii Crap here. You're saying coverage versus concentration, and it's tough, right? It's funny because I wrestle with this every morning. When I run this challenge, I'm like, do I want to have full coverage all the time? Or do I want to, start working likelihoods and kind of bringing things in? Coverage is great. I just don't feel like the field's a bleed with 4 rolls. With a longer strategy, like if you're going to play the Iron Cross or the Easy or whatever over the course of a longer period of time, you can survive the bleed. On 4 rolls, I think that bleed is too much. And that's why maybe I'll stay with just the across bet. But you see that decision to kind of work into the inside cost me 30 bucks in profit. So that's kind of a rough go there. So It is what it is. All right, let's get in here. But yeah, 2 in a row. I did win 2 days in a row, which is great. Last week, I think I lost 3 of the 4 days or something like that. So anyway, let's get to it here. Let's get to it. Let's run in to talk about today. So today we're going to do some math, by the way, and I want to make sure I remind you of the important things, okay? WagerMeThis.com's giveaway is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I think, I don't want to lie here. I think it's at 4 o'clock his time, right? Which means it's, shit, I forget now. I'm sorry, I should know this. I think it's at 7 o'clock his time central, which means it is 7 o'clock central, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. I think that's right? Central's 1 left. I don't know, whatever. It's 7 o'clock central tomorrow night. Let's make sure we all tune in. I think he's doing a live stream. So let's make sure we all tune into that. Everything else needs to just shut down for a little bit while Wager's doing his thing tomorrow. I really want to watch the axe throwing. I think that's some cool stuff. I actually watched that after he mentioned it. I caught it twice on ESPN, and it's fun. That's a thing I could never probably do. I don't know. It just looks super cool. Anyway, tomorrow night is Wagers night. Let's all just kind of agree to watch that. Friday night fights again. King of the Mountain. Microtrip is the king right now. We've got, I think, 7 people in the queue, which is awesome. I'm worried though, and I'll put this in chat. You guys can write me back real quick here in chat as I say this out loud. With 7 people in the queue, that's really, if we do it once a week, that 7th person won't get to go until probably August. If we're doing once a week, I think once a week is the right rhythm for that show. But I do worry that if the queue gets too big, some people could be 6 months out from their game. So we need to think about, do we want to do it a couple times a week to kind of clear the queue out and keep it still exciting? I think that's an important thing to think through. So I'll take your thoughts here in comments on the video or whatever, maybe in Discord. We can talk about it in the heads up room. How often should we do the matches? I think once a week feels right, but I also don't want to make you have to wait 4 months for your turn. It's kind of sucky. And again, Thursday night, Dice Jedi 6:30. It's going to be super fun. Get in Discord. Get me your questions for him as a dealer. That's what I want to see. What questions do you have for a Jedi as a craps player to a craps dealer? He actually works the box and he's a boss too. He does all the jobs. He's got lenses on how do they calculate comps? How do they rate you as a player? Is it all just math? I had this question. One of my questions, is it really just math? Are they just plugging into a computer what you're doing and that's it? Or is there still a little bit of, hey, you're doing good, let's get you some dinner, or there's still some of the personal piece of that? I think in his small casino, probably is. We'll see. I'm going to ask him that tomorrow night. But anyway, questions you have, bring them in. Cool? All right, now I want to switch to you. I want to switch over and I want to talk about some math. And I warned the people in Discord to bring your pens and papers today because we're going to do a little bit of math. I'm going to make it as easy as possible. And what I want to do, let me get over here, actually. Let me switch to the next thing. I should remind you about this, the crapping out cancer. I'm actually heading up to my casino, I think tonight, maybe tomorrow night, depends on the manager's schedule. I'm going to try and get my local casino to let me film from there for the 24 hours, or at least part of it. Like Jeremy's got his deal with GSR in Reno. I'm trying to let them get me to either let me have the floor or have the training room and film it up there with live dealers. And because some of the stuff I want to do, I don't want to just do interviews. I want to do playing. And if we can actually run from up there, that'd be a really cool hub to sort of do the 24 hours from. I'm talking to them today or tomorrow. I'll let you know as that comes out. But as you know, the crapping out cancer, I'm not sure which is the better name. It's all about Steve, right? It's about Steve from Press by One, who's got the throat cancer. He's going under the hardcore, like the super heavy duty chemo to knock this thing out. He says his prognosis is pretty good. He says he's got like a really good outlook on this thing, like he should be fine, but he wants to raise awareness. And again, any ideas you have as far as, I got 24 hours to do this, right? So Steve and I will be running probably the whole 24 hours. What do you want us doing? Do you want us to do challenges? I think the 4-roll challenge could be a thing we can do with every guest. I think the pass the rack could be something we do with every guest. I think the bucket challenge that Brian and I did last time would be super fun. Ideas that you want to see. What do you want, if you're going to watch with me for 24 hours and be a crazy person, what would you want to see for the whole day? So think about that, drop it in Discord, or drop me an email. Let me know what your ideas are. And if you want to be a part of it, please, all comers. We need all comers. So that's going to be a big one. And again, save your money, right? Like, don't go to the casino once a week. save some money for a donation for this cause. That's really, I think it's pretty important. So there's that. Now we're going to talk about probabilities and odds today. And I've got a lot of math on the right side of the screen here, on the right, over here, the right side of the screen. I'm going to show it to you. We're going to talk about it here, but I'm going to show it to you with chips on the table. I think that the chips, to me, sort of help tell the story a little bit better than just a bunch of words, okay? So let's go switch views here. I'm going to go to this view here so you can see my table but still see the words. And I want to talk to you about using the right words. And I think I make this mistake too. We interchangeably throw odds and probabilities and likelihoods around all the time, and we're getting it wrong. And I think it's important that we, A, use the right words, and B, know what those words actually mean. Let's get this out of the way here. And let me throw some chips out here, and let's remind ourselves of what the actual numbers are, okay? And I'm gonna lay this out for you like this. We're gonna put white chips out here in the don't. And that's gonna, of course, represent big red number 7, right? There's 6 ways to roll the 7. And let's just keep it simple. We're gonna work with the 6 and the 8 most of today. And I'm gonna put on the 6, 5 units. Hopefully you can see that there are 5 chips there up on the 6. Okay, so there's 5 ways to roll a 6. There's 6 ways to roll a 7. There are 36 total ways to roll the dice. 36 complete combinations. And when you say, what's the probability of rolling a 6? We talk about this all the time. It's 6 out of 36, or 5 out of 36. Where does that number come from? It comes from this. There are 5 ways to roll this one. There are 36 ways to roll anything else, okay? And if you look at the numbers, do the math on that. 5 out of 36, or 5 divided by 36, is a 13.8% chance that a 6 shows. If you do it for the 7, where you're going to add the extra way, now it's 6 out of 36, or 16.67%. Those are numbers that you've heard before. About 14% for the 6, about 16.5%, 17% for the 7. The delta between the two is about 2.8% or so. Jacob has mentioned this on his show a number of times. When he plays the 6, 7, 8, he talks about the slight difference that you've really got 7 versus 6. Now, what we're talking about there, and I have it on screen here, it's the ratio of an event occurring right now. Okay, what this represents, this 13% chance for a 6, or the 16% chance to roll a 7, is on the next roll of the dice, right? It's the probability that right now I roll the dice and one of those, either of those things comes up. This takes into account that there are whatever 25 other things that could happen besides these 2 events. Okay, so the probability takes into account the thing you're looking for, the thing you want to have happen, versus all of the things that can happen, or all the things that you're tracking against. So 6 out of 36, 5 out of 36 is the total roll universe versus the one thing you're looking at. And that's where you get this 5 ways to roll a 6, 5 out of 36, 13%. That's where the number comes from, okay? And again, the delta between the 6 and the 7, or the 8 and the 7, is about 2.8% or so. And you see things like this. It's about 3% more likely that we'll see a 7 or a 6, and here's the money line on the next roll, okay? These are hops. This is a hop calculation. All right, let's move ahead. The next thing I'll talk about is odds. So that's probability is the number, is the likelihood of something, or the chance of something against the full known universe. The odds only looks at good and bad outcomes. And it's a 1-to-1, the good versus the bad. There are 5 ways to roll a 6. There are 6 ways to roll a 7. The odds here are 5 to 6 for the 6, 6 to 5 for the 7. And when you do the math on that, it's a 0.83 odds for the 6, and it's a 1.2 odds for the 7 versus the 6. This is why the 1.2, this is why it pays 12 to 10, right? This is the whole reason for that math, that you're getting paid on the odds back there, right? So the odds, the ratio between outcomes, and it really measures what you want to happen, this, versus what you don't want to happen, that. It doesn't take into account anything else on the table. It's just it's literally a this versus that. It's the Eagles versus the Patriots in Super Bowl. It's the Seahawks versus the Broncos in the Super Bowl. It's 1 versus 1. It doesn't take into account the other games that are happening. It's just that one event. Odds are good versus evil. right? Money changes hands here or here. That's what you're checking out. The odds are literally this versus that. Nothing else gets taken into account. But you can take it a step further. You take it a step further and look at the odds of winning. And this is, I think, where there's some confusion. And I've thrown these numbers out and people want to know where the numbers come from. Here's where the numbers come from, okay? There are 5 ways to roll a 6 or an 8. There are 6 ways to roll a 7. The probability of an outcome here, you might say the odds of winning or the odds of a 6 showing before a 7. It's still 6 to 5, right? But we want to talk about the probability of winning this bet on the 6 versus losing it on the 7. And what you got to do there is you're going to eliminate the other combinations. You're going to do your math here based on the decisions where money changes hands, okay? Money changes hands if one of these 5 happens or if one of these happens, which means there's only 11 possible decisions that we care about. It's the 11 ways to win or lose. Picture putting, rolling dice obviously, but a good example that a lot of mathematicians give you is marbles in a bag. Picture 11 marbles in a bag. 5 have the number 6 on them, 6 have the number 7 on them. There's 11 total things that could happen. How do you do the math on that? Well, it's simple. You do the math based on the 5 ways that you want to win versus the 11 combinations. So instead of 6 out of 36, which is this versus everything, it's this versus this. It's 6 versus the 11 ways that an outcome could happen, the 11 ways to change money. Here, for the 6, for example, it's 5 out of 11 good outcomes. You have a 45% chance of a 6 beating a 7. For the 7, of course, it's the reciprocal of that. There's 6 out of 11 bad outcomes for you, 55% chance of a 7 beating a 6. The delta here is 10%. It's not the 2% that we saw on the last screen. It's 10% difference when you just compare the outcomes where money changes hands, not every possible outcome. I think that's a big distinction to make. And I made this, we were talking with Jacob on the Craps Chat last weekend, and this subject came up in kind of the green room, I guess, before the show started. And he was like, "Where'd you get your numbers from?" And like, this is where the numbers come from. It's a 10% difference when you just compare the likely outcomes, or not the likely outcomes, but the outcomes that you care about. The outcomes of the other numbers, in this case, if I'm only betting the 6, if I've only got this bet here, this is all that I care about. I'm looking at, in a vacuum, I'm looking at that one bet. How likely is that bet to win? What's my probability of winning this bet? It's 45%, because I'm only playing this bet against that number. It's 45% chance I win it, 55% chance I lose it. That's why I tell you all the time, when you're on the don't down here, that right there is not a bad play. You have a 10% advantage versus even the hottest number that's out here to win that bet. It's not just a 6 to 5. Okay, think about it in terms of actual mathematical statistical probability. That's how that works. Okay, so there's a number of things at play here, and I'll go back a screen to remind you of this, right? 6 out of 36 or 5 out of 36 is the total combinations. Think of it as a hop, okay? Again, if you roll the dice and it was a 6 or you lose, this number matters. The 13% number matters. If it's a 6 or you lose, if you're hopping. We're not hopping most of the time. You're place betting, which means this is the number we care about. The number of outcomes where you exchange money and get paid. That's an important distinction. Now let's look at it compounded. Okay, what are the more odds of winning? What if we have 5 ways to roll a 6 or an 8? What's the probability that any one of those numbers beats the 7? Well, here you've got the 6 or 8 versus the 7. So there's 10 ways to win, 6 ways to lose. There's 16 total possible decisions. Again, reach into the bag of marbles. You got 5 6s, 5 8s, and 6 7s. What's the chance that you're going to reach a payment? It's this. It's 62% chance, because you have 10 out of 16 good outcomes that are working for you here. You got a 60-something% chance of winning a 6 or an 8 versus a 37% chance of losing both of them on the 7. You can do it, expand it out. Look at the inside numbers. There's 24 ways to win on the inside. 18 out of 24 good outcomes, right? The 4 ways to roll the 5 and the 9 each, the 5 ways to roll the 6 and the 8 each, versus that same 6 ways to lose, okay? On a 1-roll proposition, again, these are 1-roll propositions, the inside has a 75 to 25% advantage, okay? It's not as simple as saying you have 20 ways to win versus 36. It's not that. It's the 20 ways to win out of 24, or out of, I'm sorry, 18 ways to win out of the 24 possible combinations. It's not 18 out of 36. It's not 50%. Okay? That's the way we want to talk about odds. I think it's important that we really understand the words that we're using. Odds versus probabilities. Again, odds, I'll go back a couple screens here. Odds is just the ratio between outcomes, one versus the other, good versus evil, 6 versus 7. That's odds. The odds of winning are, or losing are, 6 to 5 or 5 to 6, period. When you're looking at outcomes, that's where you use the word probability. What is the probability that I win this bet versus losing it when that happens on a given roll? And that's, I think, the difference in numbers. So you've got a lot of math there. You got a lot of percentages there, and a lot of words being thrown around, but I wanted to make sure that it was clear that, especially when you look at like the 6 or the 8 versus the 7, it changes the probability because you're putting more good numbers. Again, we'll put the 8s in here too. You're putting more potentially good things that can happen into the same bag of tricks. So now you've got 10, 16 things that can happen, and 10 of them are good. And when you start adding in these guys in here, and I always say increase your targets. When you increase your targets, now you've got, again, a one roll proposition still. It's still a one roll thing, right? But now we're at 18 versus 6. And the probability for the very next roll to be a 5, not a 5, but any one of these, that's where you get the 75% advantage. One roll. The 7 is still a bitch. The 7 is still a beast that will come. And the 7 comes so often because, as we know, of dice mechanics. The dice mechanics themselves make the 7, although it's 6 out of 36, it makes it super likely to show. And I wanted to make sure that we had those things well understood as we jump into playing some dice. So I wanted to make, hopefully hope that helps explain a little bit odds versus probabilities and where I get my numbers from. And it's not like I'm getting my numbers. These are the numbers that any mathematician or statistician will use. Odds versus probabilities. Again, outcomes versus events. It's a whole, there's nuance there. So hopefully that made some sense. And I'm looking through the chat here and making sure that we're good. All right, let's go ahead and play some craps. Let's go ahead and actually run. And I promised you I would do some of this week. We're going to do some 6, 7, 8 play. Let me go ahead and clear the rolls history here. Make sure I've got rolls that we can put in. All right, let's roll the dice. Let's play some 6, 7, 8. There's a lot of ways to play it. And I want to make sure that I cover this too, because Jacob did a video yesterday on advanced 6, 7, 8 play. And there was one thing that he said that I want to correct on. And I have the utmost respect for Jacob, but he misspoke on one thing and we got to correct it here. And I want to make sure that everybody hears this. So listen to my words, listen to my lecture right here. When you're doing this, when you're dropping $100 on the don't pass, okay, you drop $100 on the don't, and what Jacob did yesterday was dropping $15 on the 11, which I respect, right? I like the $15 on the 11. I like the attack on that. That's a great play. However, let's roll the dice. Let's actually get a number. There's an 8. Okay, great. We're on the 8. So at this point, you lose the 11, okay? And people will make the statement, well, I got $100 on the don't, so I can play blah on whatever I'm going to do. $100 on the don't means I can play 110 inside. Let's just do it. Let's make it, doesn't matter what the point is. Let's say $100 on the don't. I can play 110 inside. You're saying I'll give up the $10. I'm basically even, right? Or if I went 66 inside or whatever I wanted to do, right? The misnomer is, and I've heard Jeff say this too, right? I've got this much here so I can play that much there because it's a 1-for-1 coverage. When you're doing 6, 7, 8, you got to really think ratio. How much of this, are you playing the 6, 7, and 8 or 6, 7, or 8? That's a distinction to be made too. But here, that's not a $100 bet. Okay, you got to remember that. This is an $85 bet because you gave up $15. So even if the 7 comes, if the 7 comes right now, you lose 110. You go, lose 110. I'm only down $10. No, you're down a quarter because you burn 15 here plus 10 here. You're actually down $25. So if you're going to use the yo as a hedge coming out for even if it's $10, $10 to win 150 versus that's a great bet too, but that's not $100. That's 90. When that number gets set, that bet is whatever that bet is less what you just gave away. Don't forget that. If you're going to use this as this exactly covers this, keep that piece in mind. Don't forget that you burned money on a hedge coming out, and it reduces the effectiveness of whatever that thing is, which impacts all of it. So that would mean to me, if I'm going to play a, I don't know, $30 6 and 8 with $100 on the don't, that's a different ratio. Right now we're at, if the 7 comes, you lose 60, you win 85. Essentially, you're up $15 on a 7 here. You're not up by 40. You're up by, or whatever the difference was. You would win a net of 90 minus your 6. If you're winning $30, not the $40 you think you're winning. So remember that. These things here, I say they bleed. That's what I mean by that. Just call that out. Now, 6, 7, 8, what is the right ratio to play this thing at? This is the question. I've seen people do it like I just said. You're going to kind of get it as close to the number as you can. $75 here and $30 here, or maybe you're going to go even 36 here. I can see that going 36, 36, 75. You're 1 for 1. Fine. That becomes a hedge. That's the 6, 7, or 8, right? It's one of any one of them. You're fine. Versus doing something more and going 100 like Jacob did yesterday, 100 plus 100 and whatever. Let's say on the 10, he was doing $200. Now it's the 6, 7, and 8. Now it's all three of them. You're really looking for a win here, and you're looking for wins here along the way to that. So what's your attitude when you're playing 6, 7, 8? Is your attitude, I'm going to win here, and win here? Or is your attitude on the 6, 7, 8, I'm going to just hopefully get a couple of 6s and 8s and use this don't pass to save my ass in the case something goes wrong? Different attitude, right? You're attacking the 7 in one circumstance. Like if you're this guy, right? You are attacking the 7. If you're this guy, you're using the 7 to save a couple of simple bets. Attitude. It's all about the attitude on those bets. Let's play it both ways today. I'm going to play two guys. We're going to play a guy in front who's more of an attack on the 7 versus a guy in the back who's going to be basically riding it out and seeing what happens and going to hedge it up. So we're going to use my rack in the middle here. I'm going to give both players. Let's give the guy in the back $1,000. He needs it because he's got big bets coming out there. The guy in the front, we'll just do $500. All right, I'll take the bets down. Let's play it out. We'll do one guy with half the bankroll because that's all he needs. He's gonna put a lot less money out there at risk. Let me get my chips back where they belong, and we'll roll this guy out for a few minutes. All right, puck is off. Player in the back, $100 on the don't. Player in the front is going to be 75 on the don't, with the quarter coming back. I am not going to run the 11 hedge, and I know that Ken does it. I know that Jacob does it. I don't do it. If I get a win down here with the 2 and the 3, it's fantastic. I'm not banking on that. To me, that's bonus money. And I feel like the 3 and the 2 cancel out the 11 plus 1. It's 3 ways to win here, one way or 2 ways to win there. I have a one roll advantage or one combination advantage here. That cancels out when I lose on the 11. What I'm really giving up is the 7. So the 7's going to crush me no matter what. I'm just choosing to take the 33% advantage I have here as the hedge on the 11. So I'm going to do that over time. I think I'll win more. That's that. So here we go. We're going to come out. I'm not going to roll controlled shot. I'm just going to randomize it. And on command, come out 7. Both players get torched, which is great. Let's have one of these days where just nothing goes right, huh? $75. Here we go again, coming out. Oh my God, 437. This is fantastic. Okay, we're gonna lose again. 2 come out 7s back to back. I'm not running the roll tracker. Hold on, let me get the thing over here so we can log them in. Let's get that in here. It's gonna be a 7 and a 7, 2 in a row coming out. Awesome. Happens, right? People who play the don't will say that's the price of doing business. So here we go again. I should have given it both $1,000 the way this is working out here. There's another 100. There's 75 and change. Let's get a number, shall we? All right, 6. Point's going to be a 6. Now, this is where I invented the other strategy, right? It's a 5-1-6, by the way, where I do the delayed 6, 7, 8. I like to let the 6 and 8 or the number get established first, then come through the don't. 2 reasons. One is I don't suffer back-to-back 7s like I just did. You can't suffer back-to-back 7s if you're doing it that way with one number, which is important to remember. And the second thing is I always want both numbers working for me. At this point, the best I can do here for the guy in the front is to just get one of those 2 numbers working. And again, if I do this the correct way, it's going to just be that. It's going to just be the 8. I'm not going to, like Jacob will pick up the 5 or other numbers. If you're playing true 6, 7, 8, you're going to be the 6 and the 7 and the 8, and that's all we're going to do. I'm not going to spread out and grab other random things, okay? Over here, we're going to go ahead and take odds, lay odds down there. I'm going to get some quarters down here. We'll get 4 quarters, and we'll lay 150 down here. We'll lay 6 to win 125. Down here, 6 to win 5 on that one. And we're also going to go ahead and grab the 6 at the same level. I'm not looking to burn more than that. We're still going to, I'm sorry, the 8 rather. We're still going to do this, right? They're both going to be looking to win on the 8 multiple times. It's just about how are you attacking the 7 versus it. In this case here, because we're not getting the 6, they're both kind of in a power position against the 7, which is okay. If you had them both set, of course, that'll come to fruition later. Let's just play it out. There's the 7 right away. Wow, this is a day, right? Interesting. Okay, so we'll lose in here. These don't even matter, right? Because we lost 30, we won 75, and we're happy as hell down there. The other guy, of course, is going to win a pile of money and get back basically all of his losses. This guy over here is going to win one there and $1.25 over here. So that's pretty sweet. Actually, no, he wins 100. I'm sorry, 5 to 6. My bad math. All right, so he's going to stay on the line. He's going to stay on the line. We're going to come on back. Let's get a different point this time. I'd like to see something besides the 6 or the 8 as a point, so we can play other numbers. Here we go. Oh my God, really? 4, 3, 7. Look at this number of 7s. You want to talk about, people say there's no such thing as trends or variance. Bullshit. Look at this. Another 7. That's 4 7s out of, or 3 7s, no, 4 7s out of 5 numbers. Insanity, right? Absolute insanity. Here we go. Back on the don't for him. Back on the don't for him. I think we can see all the bets. All right, 314, beautiful. 314. So what happens here? This person is going to go in the back with 30, 30, 30. Guy in the front's going to go, same thing, 30. He needs to get some change. They're both on the 6 and the 8. And again, he has 60 out versus 75. This is kind of the hedge person. On a 7, he's going to win a pittance. He'll win $15 essentially. This guy over here against the 4 is going to come heavy with his odds. He's attacking the 4. This is the advanced way Jacob was talking about last night. Of course, I'm not doing the field or the other numbers. I'm just doing 6, 7, and 8. Here we're attacking the 7 and we're going to attack. We're going to press hard in here, double tapping in here. This guy here, same thing, is going to attack these 2, but his coverage is a hell of a lot less. He's not playing the 7, okay? This guy right here is playing the 7. This guy is not playing the 7. This guy here is trying to survive. And there's a big difference in that world. Okay, and again, you're looking still here at that percentage that we've got over the 7 of either of these hitting versus the 7. We're in the power play here, right? To get one or two of one of these has an advantage right now in this roll over the 7. Not the way I'm rolling, of course, but in theory. 6, 2, 8. So we got a number of 4 and then a 6, 2, 8, which is great. They're both going to win $35. Okay, how do you want to play the 35 bucks? Up to you, obviously. We're going to go ahead and press the number that came aggressively for both players. Just going to go ahead and bump these guys up. Double tap style, up, up, and down. 527. So here's that case. Here's the case where the player in the front collects nothing up here, which is fine. You're making a play for multiples and trying to catch it, right? He loses 60 net up top. He wins 75 down here. He walks away with 15 bucks on that roll. And you say, yeah, great, we live the fight again, right? I'm here to win on the 6 or the 8 until the 7 happens and not really get my ass kicked. Perfect, right? He did. He won on the 8, didn't collect, which is fine. He's looking for a hot roll. And the 7 saved him. This other player here also loses the same 60 bucks that he had at risk initially, but he attacked the 7 too. He was playing the 6, the 7, and the 8, the and being the operative word. So he walks away with an extra 100 bucks for his efforts. Again, he had a bigger flat because he's attacking the 7 versus his bet, and he put the odds out there, which means he's got more money potentially coming back to the rack. And I think that's the attitudinal difference that I see in these two styles of play. Are you hedging what you're betting, or are you attacking all 3 numbers? And I think that's an important thing when you're playing 6, 7, 8 to really understand what your goal is. What is your goal? All 3 or just 2? Right? If you're going to go 1 versus 1, you're just playing for 2 numbers. And again, here we go. We're going to go ahead and drop 150 in odds on that 9. Okay, 150 for the 100. No odds over here. Both players coming back out with $60 bets. And 40 coming back for him. The other guy's got it in his rack. Okay, and again, we're in the same exact position here. Okay, this player here has 60 at risk out here with a potential win down here of 200. This guy's got 60 at risk with a potential win of $15. Okay, goal. The goal is attack, attack, attack. The goal is attack, attack, and please give me a safety net. So again, when you're playing this style of play, you really got to think what's coming through. So let's get those numbers logged in. There was a 9, a 6, 3, 9. And now we have a 5, 5, 10. There's aces. 2 1s. And there's a 9. So both players get hammered on this one, 5, 4, 9, which is fine. Okay, we're going to lose this. The don't is not a guaranteed win. Okay, less risk, more risk, but we took the shot. And front and back out. Same ratio here. 3 and 1. Bets are off. We're fighting the 7. Here's the decision too. Some people talk about, do you work the come out or not? If I'm on the don't pass, I never work these on the come out, right? Because the 7's going to take everything if you work the come out here. So these are certainly off during the come out if I'm on the don't pass. Just kind of food for thought there. You don't want to give the 7 that much more juice. Okay, 4, 2, 6 is going to be our number. 4 to 2, 4, 2, 6. Okay, and here we are. We're on there, on the point. Nothing's going to change, okay? This guy here is going to go out with his odds. We'll put the greens over here. This guy here is having no odds. We're just going to pull our 6 bets down. Again, you could just move them over to the 5 and grab another number. That's totally legit to do and keep money in action. But again, you're playing the 6, 7, 8. If you're going to stick to that, that's what you're playing. You're going to enjoy your 10% advantage here. You're going to fight it a little bit in here. You're losing that 75% juice that we had by getting them both, which kind of sucks, right? And I've talked about this in the past where when I'm doing like a don't come and I land on the 6 over here and I'll no action that because I want to get hit in both places. But here we are. We're going to play the 7 against the 6, 8 against the 7, and that's it. We're not going to grab the 5. You could certainly grab the 5 or the 9. Your choice. Let's just get some wins. And here, like perfect, right? 6, 4 or a 4, 3, 7. 4 and a 3. Did I get the other point in there? I did. 4, 3, 7. Wow. A lot of 7s today. So we're going to lose The hedge for the first guy, though, is nice because he only has 30 bucks at risk, so he actually wins some money here. So he wins 75, loses 30. His net, actually, that time is okay. That's decent. Over here, straight up 200 bucks. Okay, and let's take a look at the impact in the racks here. They both experience the exact same set of rolls, right? They both have the exact same set of rolls. This guy, quick color up because I got to get to work. There's 100 in green. There's green for red. Didn't do great, right? This guy here has 500, 1,000, so he won 55 bucks, which is not anything to write home about, right? The super short session, but attacking the don't, he got beat on the don't once, pretty hard. He took 2 sevens early. He got beat in the don't, actually 2 sevens plus getting beat on the 9 and still has a little bit of a profit. The other guy who bought him for 500 and was kind of like just pussyfooting around and like, please don't take my money. He ends up with 300, 35, 340. So he's actually down 160 because he was just hedging, which ends up bleeding over time. You're not winning enough money on that 7 to make that play worthwhile. When it's 1-to-1, essentially this to this is a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't think that's conducive to winning unless you catch a hot roll up in here. You're gonna need a hot roll here to make that work on a bunch of garbage rolls like this. And hey, does that look like a casino trip to anybody? 7s, a couple naturals on the come out, a 0.7 out. I've seen that before of you, right? Another natural, pretty okay little roll there, and then you're out. That's a very typical casino day for most people, I think. I think I missed a number in there somewhere in the middle. That's pretty normal. And I think that's why we say hedging, technically speaking, is going to be a bleed over time, because if you don't attack every bet you've got, every bet's got to be a winner to me anyway. I'll play this way all the time. Every bet's got to be a winner. If I'm going to put it out there, I'm going to put it out there for more than I need. If I'm going to do 6, 7, 8, I'm going to go at least 2-to-1. At least 2-to-1. And I'm probably going to do odds to attack it. I want to play the 7. I want to play the 6 and the 8. Tomorrow we're going to do it again. I'll do the lazy 6, 7, 8 versus the hedge 6, 7, 8. I'm going to come through the don't come. And again, you'll see what I do here is I'm going to have an extreme amount of risk for one roll as I'm doing that, but I'm not going to suffer multiple consecutive losses in here. I'm not going to get 7, 7, 7 and lose. I'm going to get 1, 7 and get my ass kicked, but I won't suffer it twice in a row as I come through here. I will have to make some crazy decisions. People will think I'm nuts for no actioning the 7 against the 6 when I come through here, but there's a reason why. So with that said, that's the first little tiny bit of 6, 7, 8 backed up by the probability and odds conversation. I hope that the probability and odds conversation made sense. That was kind of the thing for the day here, right? And yeah, Dr. S, I'm going to call you out completely on this, right? I rolled 11 times today, or whatever the hell I got, 13 rolls today. There's no way that's not the gold standard, okay? It's a pretty good representation of what a table looked like today, but this is short, right? Even like Vince will roll 30, 40, 50 times. If I'm doing a nighttime practice, I'm rolling 150 or 200 rolls when I do these things live to get a better sense of how it goes. This is just a quick little look at rhythm. And again, a theory, right? I use this kind of thing to talk, let me get my other screen here. I use these things to talk about theory because, again, if you're going to just let the don't cover your bets, you're going to be here all day long. You're looking for the big one. If you're going to attack the 6, attack the 8, and attack the 7, you're going to get bigger swings, but you have a better chance of getting the bigger swing. And that's what we're looking for. I want to attack all those numbers. So there it is. Anyway, what are we talking about here? James, after I go broke, I can maybe find a bankroll next to my car. I'm not sure if that's for me or for somebody else, but anyway, that's an interesting comment there. That's what I'm talking about today. Just make sure that you are aware of your goals. Your goal might be to save your 6 and 8 bets. Your goal might be to attack all 3. If your goal is to attack all 3, then attack all 3 and be on the attack. That's kind of what I'm saying. And hopefully the note from before, I'm going to put it back up just to leave it with you. Go back to here again. These notes should be important to you. Remember the difference between odds and probability, right? The odds being, the odds being just the ratio of the good to the bad, right? The odds of winning the odds of losing 6-5, 5-6 for the 6 and 8 versus the 7, that is not an indication of win probability. The probabilities themselves, the odds of winning, your probabilities, this is where I want you to be focusing on, right? It's how likely is that bet to win against the other bet. And that's the only universe we care about. The universe where I either win or lose money, the other rolls don't matter. And that's where this calculation comes into place. This only takes into account the 6 and the 7 in this example here. Only the bets that matter. Only the bets where money changes hands. That's an important bit for you guys to hone in on and feel. So make sure you have the right words in your mouth as you're building your strategies, playing at your table. So that's it. That's all I got for today, folks. I'm going to run through here the chats, and let's just see if there's anything specifically earmarked for me. Oh my gosh, there's so many PC chats. Let's see. I'm going to put my glasses on. Sorry for the glare. My glasses make a glare, I know. Oh, I see some King of the Mountain stuff. PC, how about 2 King of the Mountain matches on Friday? We can do Friday night fights, so there could be 2. Absolutely could be 2. We're actually getting good, too, keeping them about a half an hour to 45 minutes, which is good. Even me, even when I'm dealing, I've got it down to about 40 minutes now. That's totally doable, I think. I like him being on Fridays. I don't want to spread the week out. I think that's a good focus night there. That's good. Mid-Atlantic Craps, I'm doing a rollout. Oh, this is good. So last year when we did the Crapsathon for gambling addiction, Jeff did a rollout and we donated money based on his rolls. So I think the same thing, we'll do that. We'll absolutely have Jeff, and we'll suss it out. I think what we're going to try and do here is get more pledges. Like, hey, if everybody pledges $1 for every $100 that Jeff wins during his segment, and 50 people do that, and Jeff wins $1,000, everybody puts $10 into the kitty. That's how we do it. So I want to get more like advanced pledging in. I have no idea how to do it. Like, there's no app for that. It's got to be like word of mouth. But that's would be cool. And Ian, of course, Ian's my friend from here in Washington. We've played together, and we both frequent the same casinos. So I'm going to go up and talk to Tulalip and see about getting a room or getting a table for this. So yeah, if I'll ring you up here in a little bit, and we'll see if we can't make that happen for sure. Let's see. Doctor, how does playing the 6, 7, 8 change the fact? It doesn't change the fact that the house has the advantage. Let's go back to the screen here. The house still has the advantage on you because the 7 is so strong. Remember this. Let's go back to that. Let's go move with Keynote. On this one here, so actually I'll go one slide further. Okay. Look at, like, in the inside is the better case, right? Inside versus the 7. 24 decisions, right? 18 good outcomes for you, 6 bad outcomes for you. You have a 75% to 25% advantage over the 7 when you have more coverage like that, right? On one roll. That's a one roll bet. Okay. You got this nice advantage of on that roll beating the 7 because you have more coverage in numbers. If you reach into the bag of marbles, you're going to get most likely a box number. That's what that is saying to you. However, when the 7 does come on the 25% of the bad outcomes, you're going to lose 4 bets. It isn't like flipping a quarter and you're betting on the head or the tail. You're betting on 4 things. So one bad outcome, 25%, results in 4 bets going away. Those 4 bets with the 6 and 8 included are actually higher than 100% because it's not 10, 10, 10, and 10. It's 10, 12, 12, and 10, right? You're giving up your edge when the 7 does come. You lose all of them. So this feels pretty good, right? Seeing a 75% advantage feels good. But remember that when you lose it, the 25% takes 100% of your money. That's where the edge is. I hope that's what you're asking me to highlight there, Dr. S. It's an important thing to make sure that we know that. And I didn't quite say that correctly during the other part of the presentation, but I think it's important to note that that's a thing, right? You do give it up. When you lose it, you give it all up. And I think that's the thing there. So where do I fall on Dr. S and Buckeye's discussion skills aspect? I didn't see their discussion, so let me run back and take a look. What was their discussion about? I got to go back and find it. So give me a second here to kind of run through. Sorry, this will be nice and boring while you watch me read. Oh boy, this is fantastically entertaining TV. Okay, Buckeye says, define beating the 7 as recovering inertia bet plus a profit, even a small one before the 7 rolls. Math is hard, so play the hard ways. That's pretty funny. Let's see, you bet 1/4. Yeah, this is what I just said, Dr. S. If you win 1/4 3 times and you lose all of it on one time, you're behind. That's what I was trying to say over there. The 7 is a bitch, right? The only way to make this work, right, is if you pull your bet. If you can, for example, let's take the 4-roll challenge, right? If you can press, and bring it down, that's how you beat it, right? You take your advantage, your 3-roll. If you're going to win 3 out of 4 decisions, right? 75%, 25%. You're going to win 3 out of 4 decisions. If you get 2 or 3 of those decisions before the bad one, which is you're hoping for, again, it's got to line up linearly. I actually wrote a slide here that says this. I actually wrote a slide that says, like, when does it matter? It never fucking matters. All that math doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all because it only happens when you get the perfect scenario, right? 36 perfect rolls, right? Or when those rolls happens in the perfect order, in harmony with or against you, does it matter, right? 75% win rate versus the 7. If you get 5 7s in a row and then 10 good ones in a row, you're at the right rate, roughly, right? But those 5 7s in a row could have taken all your money. You're gone. You're not there for the other ones. It's got to be in harmony, right? So in short, when there's no variance with the rolls in your strategy, none of the numbers matter, right? These percentages should never drive your gameplay, and I want to make that point clear too. Don't let the percentages be the reason why you make a bet. They should justify what you're doing, and you should know what's about to happen. But it ain't going to happen in this order. You're not going to win your 75% of the time. Every single time. We're doing the line bets tomorrow, by the way. You're not going to win 75. You're not going to win 1, 2, 3 and then lose 1. You're going to win 1, lose 3, win 2, lose 1, win 4. It's going to be out of sequence. Make sure you know where your money is. And every chance you get to pull money off that table, pull money off that table. It's an important piece of it. So hope that covers the question that was asked of me to kind of go back. I'm trying to read their conversation, but it's really, really hard to go back and look at their conversation along with everybody else's stuff. So what I might do here is go back and reread these chats. I'm looking at the old ones here. I may reread these chats and then come back in Discord and have a statement on what I'm trying to assess here. Again, I'm trying to give you high level stuff. It looks like they're going really deep in the weeds. So there is that. Please, oh my God, now I'm seeing Biden stuff. Oh, good Lord. Okay. What other questions do we have? I think that's it. Question: what's the percentage in laying the 9 compared to the 10? Well, that's an interesting one. We'll save that for tomorrow because it's 9 o'clock. But James, I'm going to put this up on screen tomorrow. I'm actually going to be going over the pass line and don't pass line. I have the same math. We're going to apply to the pass and the don't pass. But the difference in laying the 9 to the 10 is interesting because the percentages work in reverse, right? You're not going to have the hammer, right? So for the 9, for example, you've got 4 ways to quote unquote win a 9, 6 ways to lose. You're at 40%, right? As a winner. On the flip side, when you lay it, you're a 60% favorite to win. On the 6 and the 8, it's only a 66% difference. It's not you're not getting that much juice on the 4 and 10 versus the 4 and 10 versus the 5 and 9. It's a 60 to 66% difference. It isn't that much. But tomorrow we'll look at that. I have all that stuff broken out for you for tomorrow. If this was interesting, by the way, thumbs up the video and drop me a note. And tomorrow we'll do it again with pass line, don't pass line comparisons. And I'm still going to play 6, 7, 8 because I love the 6, 7, 8 as a way to play. Keep rolling it out. Maybe tomorrow we'll get a nice longer roll than 13. But I wanted to kind of just show you the attack differences this morning because it was on my head. And Duracell says, don't forget the probabilities of sequences. Yes, I totally agree with you there. Things happen in sequences. We talk about trends, clusters, whatever you want to call it. It's real, right? DGE has an interesting way of assessing some of that stuff that I don't always agree with, but I see what he's thinking, right? I try to attack those trend lines as well. I just do it in a different way. But I think again, these probabilities, these percentages only matter on the golden roll. That's right on the monetary thing. I think Ken did a video the other day where he rolled 36 numbers, and of course it doesn't match the chart, right? I would posit you could probably roll 36 rolls 1,000 times and maybe once hit the exact thing that the chart says you're supposed to hit, you're going to be in variance almost every time with a group of 36 rolls. That's why these percentages over time matter, but in the moment they don't matter. In the moment you're going to break out of them. Just know probability, likelihood, they're statistics, they aren't truth in the moment. That's an important thing to, I think, weigh out for yourselves. All right, with that said, I got to get to work. It is Tuesday, May 17th. Wow. Y'all have a great day. Love all you guys. Keep liking, keep subscribing. I'll see you in the morning. Another math lesson tomorrow. And yeah, I'll read the chats and I'll come back out in Discord and we'll talk through it out there. We'll bring this conversation into the coffee and craps room over there. So again, thanks for the healthy debate, the lively discussion, and your time, man. Love all you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.